All right. Okay. Hi there, Jennifer.
Hi.
For everybody who's watching this is Jennifer Reyes, who leads Sales from the Heart, works with wonderful people to help them build their businesses. And I will let you talk more about what you do. Go for it.
Awesome. Well, a lot of times as coaches, entrepreneurs, or small business owners, we can get distracted in the day to day. We can feel a little bit lost and confused on what to focus on first. Sometimes we need more clarity and direction. And so that's what I help people do. My specialty is in sales, marketing, and messaging. That way you can authentically connect with the audience that you're meant to serve. So by no means am I, a specialist in writing and copywriting like Susan is, um, but I can help people connect. That's the biggest things, and use tools like Susan provides in her content planner. And I'll let her say the full name.
It is the kick-ass content planner recently shared with her clients when she did an intensive with them. And that's why we're talking today, to talk a little bit about how she used it to help her people visualize and kind of organize how to do the content piece of their marketing with a little bit more ease. And it's pretty exciting, some of the stuff that Jennifer did with that. So I'm going to actually let you take it away and tell everybody the very cool way in which you implemented this.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to paint the picture of how we gather together. So, normally I work with clients either one on one or in a group, and I have a group for people of all different levels of where they're starting at. But usually, my one on one clients are a bit more advanced or they want to accelerate even faster. And so, this was offered for my one on one clients, and we did a half day intensive together. So, we all gathered in one location, removing any distraction. And what was so funny is the facility actually did not have any Wi Fi, and cell phone service was very, very limited. So, yeah. But we were able to connect via hotspot and use our computers. And the reason why that was beneficial is because I had created a private um, board using Trello, Trello. It's a great resource. There's a lot of free functions on it, and I had used the material in Susan's content planner, in addition to a few of my own as well. But I really set up everything there. So we're going to dive into that in just a moment, where I'll do a screen share so you can actually see the visual. And if you're anything like me, I need more visual. I need lots of color, and just to make it fun. But first, what we did is I dove in the first few pages of Susan's video. There's a great little chart here. So here's, I don't know, you can't obviously read that, but it's just a little chart of talking about the stage of the journey, the motion, and the length of the post or the content that you're creating, what type of content types are best suited, whether that's video, ads, images, where to post that, and then any notes that she put in there about like maybe keeping it shorter, keeping it longer, depending on the stage of the journey that the potential client is in. If they're aware, if there's just interest, if they're evaluating, are they ready to purchase, etc. So that was really important, just to give kind of the basics and understanding about that, and just creating any doubt or hesitation that these ladies had when creating the content. I think a lot of times, myself included in the past, I would say, "Oh, but it's not inspired for that day. I don't want to have to batch things out in advance." So that's what we were talking about: is batching, doing this at one time. Maybe it's spread out over the months, or maybe it's just once per month, where you're creating content for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Anything more than that gets a little tricky. I don't know a lot of people that can do that, right?
I can't do that. Yeah. But I would want to talk about that because that's a really great point you bring up, and I hear it all the time. Is people wing it? They say, "Oh, I
Mhm.
want my content because I want to be inspired. Because if I don't write in the moment, then it's not a true message. It's just it's canned and artificial." And
Yeah,
that's true. Anything that you create, anything that comes from you, is going to be your truth in that moment, and then whenever you.
exactly.
So that's a really key factor to making content marketing easier for yourself, is to batch it out and
Yes.
do it when you're
Because,
in that zone.
yes. And I tell my clients, you still get an element of being able to share based on what's happening for that day. It doesn't always have to be scheduled post. especially if it's on your personal page, you can actually pull from a list of content of what you want to share in that particular day, what you're inspired to, what's, guiding you in that day. So a lot of mine are like divinely inspired. I'm like, somebody needs to hear this today. Boom, it's already created. Sometimes I tweak it a little bit more from what I originally batched out, but then I can share more consistently. And
Yeah.
so the benefit of doing that, and each one of the ladies had different amounts of posts that they wanted to create for or to share for the week. So some people like myself, what I like to do is maybe have 1 or 2 posts per week, but I then squeeze as much out of that post as I can. So maybe I wait a day or so and I add a comment. Maybe I don't reply to everybody that's written something in there, just to kick it back in the newsfeed, right? I know there's different algorithms on different platforms, but for me, I pick 1 or 2 platforms that I enjoy, and that way I don't get overwhelmed. And that way there's consistency there where, I'm not just falling off for months at a time.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good advice.
Yeah.
You're a pro or something.
Just a little bit in regards to sales and connecting and and all that marketing stuff, but doing it in a way that's authentic to you, right? I think that's the most important thing. It's not a one size fits all. And I think you emphasize that in your content planner. We each are wired differently. And, but I think the biggest thing that I heard from some of the ladies is that they were now inspired. And if I can just read something here from Victoria that she wrote. She said, having a group work around me kept me motivated to write out my social media content, while having Jennifer accessible to bounce things off of kept me on track. And so, before we go off into our own trying to do everything by ourselves, I always tell my clients, if you're stuck on something more than 10 minutes, reach out, message me, and I'll help you walk through it. And so what was really good is I gave them about 20 to 30 minutes just to dive into picking a few of the content pieces, the ideas, which I'll show you in just a moment on the private messaging board, Trello. But then I started to see what they were writing, and some are a little bit more verbose than others, right? Where they speak, very lengthy. They write very lengthy, and so I started teaching them how they can shorten it up, how they can add in some spacing or make the letters pop a little bit more. How we can use video. I'm like, oh, this message here is going to be great with video or with an image that looks like this. So I just give them the little ideas that way, and then after I do a few of those, then they start to get inspired in how they can do that for themselves. So by no means do we want people dependent on us, right? I'm sure, Susan, you don't want to write everybody's social media posts. This is why you create this for them.
I think it's something that you need to do on your own,
Yeah.
and put in your business where you can hire somebody else out to do it. But
Yeah. You need to find your voice, but more importantly, before we dive into this, I give them an exercise, and not this day, but while we're working together, on how to really connect and understand your ideal client. So really diving into those pains, problems, dreams, and desires. And then we also swirl in your story as well. So when you can speak to that, when you can speak to your audience about these pains, problems, dreams, and desires, they therefore know you have a solution. This is how you don't have to be salesy. Therefore, ta-da, my company called Sales from the Heart, right? It's really just authentically connecting and allowing yourself to be who you are, and then they come through and they get permission pretty much to be who they are, right? Yeah. Yeah. So any other questions, or do you want to see this board?
Lord.
All right, let's see if technology cooperates with us. Sometimes Zoom will slow down when we do a screen share. Yeah. So let me just
we'll see what we can do.
Yes, let me see what I can do here. So I'm going to go to share my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Not quite yet, but it should pop up momentarily. There we go. Okay.
Awesome. All right, so on the left-hand side, I just put some reminders here, and I got this from your content planner guide. And I put something in there about effective content, meeting your ideal clients where they're at. I showed them the sheet. We went through that in the workbook. And then from there, I also, the second box included how often do they want to post? Where do they want to post? Deciding these things in advance is going to be really helpful, like you mentioned in the planner. What action do you want them to take? A call to action, I think, is really important. And I reminded them a call to action isn't always necessarily pointing them to your website, pointing them to your program, selling, selling, selling all the time. Now, I'm not, against sales, but I redefine what sales mean. It's really about serving, being authentic, listening, engaged, and spiritual. And yes, that all stands with the first letter of sales. So, and if spiritual isn't your thing, that's okay too. You can put stubborn or whatever other S word there that you want. So just making sure that we, include that call to action. It could be just, include an emoji or, a word or something like that below in the comments, right? So that's the first thing. And you could always add more reminders in there. There's so many great nuggets in Susan's content planner, but then I would be rewriting the whole book in the Trello. So the next list is the about me and our business. And then so I took some of the things that were inspired at the end of Susan's book. You have a really great section. I think it was at the end.
Yes, at the very end.
The very end, yes. And it's bonus topic ideas. And so that is where I got some of these, and the list can continue to go down. The reason why I put the about me and my business in the first section is it's easier to begin to talk about you because you know yourself, and a lot of times your ideal clients when you're first starting out have to do with something about you, maybe in the past or something that you've overcome. And so we want to swirl in and always talk about your ideal client, right? But sometimes we do need to share a little bit about us to get people warmed up. The next section is pictures, of you, lifestyle. Maybe there's some stock photo sites that you even like that you can include. It's just a way to keep everything in one spot. I love Trello. I use this with my clients. Everything stays in one space. And then, of course, you can also use it on your phones. So whenever I hear, maybe I'm at a conference or I hear something great, instead of having it in all these separate notebooks that I do nothing with that are scattered all over the house, I put everything in a Trello board, and then I can go back and use that for
Smart.
content. Questions to ask. There's random questions, strategic questions, your business lead magnet. Those are maybe great resources that you have. Traveling, all these other things that you can link maybe to other places. So you're not always just sharing your own, but we want to be careful. We don't want to always push people to other sources, resources, right? But sometimes it's great if you have something that you really passionate about or that really lights you up. And it gives people a glimpse into something about you. So I've recently realized I'm becoming a crazy plant lady. And and so I'm connecting with people. They're posting things on their page about plants, and I'm like, oh my gosh, me too. So I haven't yet revealed myself. About I haven't come out about being a crazy plant lady just yet, but I'm seeing other people who are, so that you can connect on something other than just talking about business, right?
Great.
And then I put inspirational posts. These are things that maybe inspire you, and then that you're passionate about, and that you want to teach others. Maybe it's something about you, something that you've hit a milestone or stepped out of your fear or something. You can do something that pertains to the business. You can write something with humor. I mean, there's a bunch of different things on here. And then the last one, we didn't fill it all in completely. We just started with the dreams and challenges. I have a 3-page document that I dive into people with the client avatar. It's an evolving document. It's so useful, and helps creating even more content. And the beauty of
I
all
just
of
want to
this.
say something about the client avatar, because if you're like me and every other
Mhm.
marketing business coach, their clients really resist doing this client avatar. Like it's the one thing that they just
Yeah.
want to do. And I'm telling you, there's a reason that we all ask you to do it. And that's because it makes all the difference. It's really important to know who your client is.
It really allows and saves you from spending time online and in person with groups that aren't where your ideal clients are hanging out. It allows you to narrow down on your pricing, your packaging. That's what I do really well with clients, is help them figure out their pricing and packaging, usually in less than an hour. And I have people that have struggled with this for months. There's a lot of ways. It helps you back with your website, with your content creation. There's so many great things about it. And so just know that you're not alone in this. You have Susan, you have myself, you have other people around you that can help you dive into this. The biggest thing is you want to make sure that you're continuing to move forward and not stay stuck, right? So, but here, yeah, this is just like I said, a little blurb. But here's what's so interesting about all of this is that I asked the ladies, how much content do you think you can create out of this? They said 6 months or more. I was like, whoa, I only thought maybe about 3 months initially. I didn't want to overwhelm you. But what they loved about it is they said, you know what? These aren't just the outside of these cards here, like what's something most people don't know about me that's funny, interesting, or cool. You can create about 5 to 10 posts from that. You don't have to share everything at once. It doesn't have to be a super lengthy post. You can repurpose it several different ways. So what they realized is that people need to hear the same piece of content several different times over several different months, because not everybody's going to see it at once. Sometimes it takes multiple times for that really to sink in. I've shied away from sharing my story, my near-death experience, and how I was able to overcome anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, all those things. I've shared it numerous times, and I was like, I don't want to keep talking about this. But each and every time that I do, it impacts somebody else or impacts them in a different way and allows them to continue to move forward and break through things that were holding them back, right? And so I just want everybody to know, like, your story matters, your content matters. Don't let anybody like dim that light that you have.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I can go on and on and on about about this, Susan. There's just so many great things.
Yeah, so hold on, let me get back to you, Jennifer. My phone rang and it like takes my entire
Oh, that's
Zoom.
okay. In the middle of my mini TED style talk that I did,
Uh,
somebody's phone was rang and I just played it into my talk. What are you going to do in that moment?
Part of our stories.
Right.
I work from my house. I have a dog that barks. I've got a phone that rings. I've got, like this is
Yeah.
so own it.
I'm grateful right now that my 3 dogs are snoring and not running around. Usually they participate in our calls, right, Susan?
Hi. So, but getting back on track because we digress. So I really love this, Jennifer. This is
Mm.
really cool because different people do think in different ways. And while the written content planner is great for a lot of people, for other people, having that Trello board is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So that is just so important that however you do it and works for you is
Yeah. I love this. Like, I love the written that you did here in the workbook. There's so much great stuff. I mean, I didn't incorporate everything, but maybe for the next one I can. Or what I would love to do is have you fly out to Chicago.
I'm willing to. I'm until the weather's a little warmer.
Yeah. But I just want to say this is a great tool for other coaches to use, right? And it really, I mean, I had more ideas of what we incorporated into our half day incentives. We did the first half with the content planner. And then after that, we did some hot seats. And then I gave them a little creative thing to do, which they absolutely loved. But one of the other things that was mentioned is they said that I'm excited to really sit down and start working on my content that I'm putting out there. This was never the thing before. People were doing it sporadically, they weren't excited about doing it, and the consistency will bring in more clients. It'll bring in more connection. It'll allow you to show up and do what you really enjoy doing. That's the beauty of this.
And it is fun. I mean, and that's what I really, one of the takeaways I want people to have. So I'm really thrilled that your clients experience that, is that creating this content, telling your story is fun. And if you're having fun with what you're doing and how you're marketing your business, you are going to attract those people that you're meant to be working with, and you're going to be excited about it. And that just comes through. And I think that's a big part of what you teach people, is that, like, just being excited about everything, because that's where heart is.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody else also mentioned I would have continued to think I could do it later and have the ideas, but not sit down and have done it. I would have continued to let fear stand in my way of accomplishing what I know that I can. So I think that's really great that this person was able to move beyond the fear and see the possibilities. And also, all of the ladies shared what was blocking them before. I think that's important to do too, to, talk about the lies, the myths, the things that are standing in our way from really connecting, and when we have, um, that kind of impact in other people's lives, we have to know that you're going to have that opposing force that doesn't want you to do that
Yeah,
and create that, right? And so by verbalizing that to somebody else and helping them really see that truth, that will help break free from all this. And then utilizing tools like this, utilizing a coach and in a group to help you get through it, can really make a difference.
it does. And I'm excited for your clients because it sounds
Yay!
amazing day that you
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And for myself too, it was nice because I got to see, how often do I want to do this? Do I want to do them once a quarter? Do I want to do them more? Most of the time I'm hiding behind a screen. Um, but I absolutely do love the community and getting together in person. And so that's an opportunity that opened up as well. And maybe some of my clients that are out of state will fly in, including yourself, that can come and facilitate this
yes.
a little bit deeper for us. That would be awesome.
All right, it's the date. Just gotta make
Yay!
thank
Thank
you.
you.
When I post this, I'll put links to your website, the
Great.
planner, all the links everybody needs
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you.
and everything. So thank you, Jennifer.
Yay!